Today I'm going to talk about 3 mistakes interviewers make in creating interview questions to ask in an interview. Hi, I'm Stephen Moulton, author of The CEO's Advantage, 7 Keys for Hiring Extraordinary Leaders. In my newest book, Hiring Employees, Big Company Secrets for Small Business Leaders. Ever wonder what questions you should ask in an interview? Ever make a hiring mistake? I have. Boy, have I. Very early in my career, I had to hire over 1,000 people in 6 months to build airliners. I could assess technical capabilities well, but I had no clue about how to hire really great employees. I hired way too many problem employees. Quite literally, I had to fire all the problem employees I hired, and that was no fun. This led me on a quest to be able to make great hiring decisions. One key was having an interview guide, not just a list of questions I use for everyone, but an interview guide that fit each job I interviewed candidates for. This is a problem that really vexes leaders everywhere. So let's look at 3 keys for creating a great interview guide with the right questions to ask in your interview. Before we get started on that, an interview guide is a structured set of questions interviewers ask each candidate for a specific position. Why is that? Why is that important, I guess? Questions for each candidate for a specific job. You can't compare apples to apples. Using an interview guide is one very important key for improving the quality of hiring decisions. However, not all hiring guides are created equal. And the 3 mistakes that interviewers typically make in creating an interview guide are as follows. 1, 0 relationship to the position. If you want to improve your selection decisions, you need the right questions. Questions that are valid for the position. A very simple definition of validity is that it will measure what's intended to measure. That needs to be the right measure. Second part of that is one size doesn't fit all. Here's what I mean. The questions asked need to assess specific competencies necessary for success in a specific job. The competencies for success as an administrative assistant are going to be significantly different from a truck driver. The competencies for a manager are going to be very different from a salesperson. You need both technical and behavioral questions in your interview guide. The questions to measure those competencies, they're going to be different. But here's the rub. The traditional approach to determining the key competencies, both technical and behavioral, for a specific position are costly and take a lot of time. Hence, there's a need for a simplified system that not only tells you what competencies are important, but also provides you with the questions that will measure those competencies. Number 2, poorly written behavioral interview questions. How are they poorly written? They're typically leading questions. In other words, questions that broadcast the candidate what the interviewer is looking for. For instance, a typical behavioral interview question might sound something like this. Tell me about a time when you had to balance priorities and did so successfully. In this case, the interviewer is broadcasting that he or she is looking for a successful effort balancing priorities. A better question would be, tell me about a specific time when you were challenged balancing priorities. Do you hear the difference between the 2? The first one was leading the candidate by saying and did so successfully. The second simply said or asked and were challenged by balancing priorities. The second question will not only give you insight into prioritizing skills, but a sense of what the candidate even considers as being challenging. Number 3, lack of measurement consistency. Many people use numbers to rate candidate responses because they believe that the numbers are objective, and that's a myth. The Supreme Court has so ruled it. If you want reliability and consistency across the interviewers on candidate fit for a job, you need a system. I've seen interviewers that we're supposed to use a 5-point scale, say something such as, I'll rate this candidate at 3.5 on this competency, and later rate another candidate on the same competency a 3.6 because they liked it just a little bit better. And the Supreme Court has basically ruled there's no measurable difference between a 3.5 and 3.6, and there's really none between a 3 and a 4. I hope these insights are useful in creating an effective interview guide with the right interview questions you need to ask in each interview. You can do it yourself. Or you can save yourself time, money, and frustration by letting me help you and your hiring managers succeed. Go to www.hire-stars.com or call us at 303-439-2001 to learn more.